He texts you at 2 a.m. saying, "I miss us," but when you try to make actual plans the next day, suddenly he's swamped with work for the next 3 weeks. Sound familiar? You're not dealing with someone who's confused about their feelings. You're dealing with something far more calculated, and what I'm about to show you will completely change how you see these interactions. There's a massive difference between an avoidant who's genuinely struggling with intimacy and one who's actively manipulating your attachment system to keep you available without ever committing. And the scary part, most people can't tell the difference until they've already wasted months, or even years. Let me walk you through the 7 specific phrases that separate the two, because once you know what to listen for, you'll never unsee it. Statement 1. I'm just not ready for a relationship right now. Here's where most people get this wrong. They hear this and think, okay, he needs time, he's been hurt before, should be patient. But watch what happens next. Does he actually work on himself? Does he go to therapy, read books, have real conversations about his patterns? Or does he keep you in this weird limbo where you're doing relationship things without the relationship label? Maria dated someone for 8 months who said this exact phrase on their 3rd date. 8 months. They spent weekends together, met each other's friends, had deep conversations at 3 a.m. about childhood wounds. But the moment she asked where things were going, he'd circle back to, "I told you from the start I'm not ready for a relationship." Think about this for a second. If someone tells you they're not ready, but then acts like your boyfriend for months on end, they're not protecting themselves from getting hurt. They're protecting themselves from accountability. Big difference. The manipulative avoidant uses this phrase as a permanent shield. It becomes their get-out-of-jail-free card for every situation. Can't meet your parents? I told you I'm not ready for that level of commitment. Won't post you on social media. That feels too relationshipy for where I'm at. Meanwhile, you're over here doing all the emotional labor of a relationship without any of the security. Here's what you need to understand about attachment psychology. A genuine avoidant who says they're not ready will actually show you through their actions that they're working on it. They'll set realistic timelines. They'll communicate about their progress. They'll acknowledge when they're pulling away and own it. The manipulative one, they use it as a tool to keep you hoping while they explore other options, or just enjoy the benefits without the commitment. So what do? You take them at their word and you match their energy. If they're not ready for a relationship, you're not ready to act like their girlfriend. Stop doing girlfriend things for someone who won't give you a boyfriend title, and watch how quickly their tune changes when you actually pull back. If they double down on the not ready excuse, you have your answer. If they suddenly become ready when they realize you're serious about walking away, you also have your answer. Statement 2. I don't want to hurt you. This one sounds caring on the surface, right? Like he's being considerate of your feelings, protecting you from potential pain. But pay close attention to what happens after he says this. Does he actually change his behavior to avoid hurting you? Or does he say this phrase right before doing exactly what will hurt you, as if saying it somehow absolves him of responsibility? Let me paint you a picture. Jake tells Rachel, "I don't want to hurt you," after she asks why he keeps cancelling their plans last minute. Sweet, she thinks. He cares about my feelings. The next weekend, he cancels again. When she gets upset, he says, "I literally told you I didn't want to hurt you. I was honest about who I am." See the game there? He's not actually trying to prevent pain. He's creating a verbal disclaimer so that when he inevitably does hurt you, he can point back to that moment and say, "I warned you." Here's something most people miss about avoidant attachment. True avoidants who care about not hurting you will create actual distance. They'll pull back, they'll break things off cleanly, even if it's painful in the moment. They understand that stringing someone along is worse than a clean break. The manipulative type? They keep you close enough to benefit from your presence, but far enough to avoid real responsibility. And there's a psychological reason this phrase works so well. It triggers your empathy. You hear, "I don't want to hurt you," and your brain translates it to, "He cares about me. He's struggling with his own issues. I should be understanding." Meanwhile, he's using that empathy as permission to keep doing exactly what hurts you. Watch what comes after this phrase. If it's followed by actual protective behavior like setting boundaries or ending things cleanly, that's genuine. If it's followed by more of the same behavior that prompted the conversation in the first place, you're being played. So what do? Call it out directly. I appreciate you saying you don't want to hurt me. So let's talk about what behaviors we both need to change to make sure that doesn't happen. Watch them squirm. A manipulative avoidant will deflect, get defensive, or flip it back on you. Someone genuinely trying to navigate their attachment style will engage with that conversation. Statement 3. You're too good for me. Oh, this is a masterclass in manipulation disguised as humility. He's putting you on a pedestal while simultaneously creating distance, and somehow making you feel like you should comfort him for doing it. Think about what this phrase actually accomplishes. It sounds self-deprecating, which triggers your nurturing instinct. You want to reassure him, tell him he's wrong, prove to him that he's worthy. But here's the trap. By accepting this frame, you're also accepting that the relationship problems are because of his unworthiness, not because of his choices. Let me show you how this actually works in real time. Connor tells his girlfriend of 6 months, "You're too good for me," after she discovers he's been keeping his dating profile active. Instead of addressing the actual issue, the betrayal of trust, he's made himself the victim of his own low self-esteem. Now she's comforting him while he's the one who broke her trust. Brilliant, in a twisted way. The psychology behind this is rooted in something called strategic self-handicapping. By preemptively declaring himself unworthy, he's lowering your expectations and creating an excuse for future bad behavior. When he messes up again, and he will, he can point back to this moment. I told you I wasn't good enough for you. I don't know why you expected different. But here's where it gets really interesting. Notice how people who say this never actually leave. If you truly believe someone was too good for you and you cared about them, you'd remove yourself from their life so they could find someone on their level, right? Instead, they say this phrase and then stick around to keep enjoying the benefits of being with someone too good for them. A genuine avoidant struggling with self-worth issues will seek help, work on themselves, and show through actions that they're trying to become worthy of the relationship. The manipulative type uses this phrase as a shield against criticism and a tool to keep you emotionally invested in proving them wrong. So what do? Agree with them. I'm serious. Next time someone says, "You're too good for me," look them in the eye and say, "You might be right." So what are you going to do about it? Watch the panic set in. They expected you to disagree, to reassure, to chase. When you don't, they're forced to either step up or reveal that this was just manipulation all along. Statement 4. I need space to figure things out. The space request. This is where things get tricky because needing space is actually a legitimate thing that avoidants require. But there's a world of difference between someone who needs space and someone who's using space as a control mechanism. Real space has parameters. I need 2 weeks to process some things going on with my family. Can we check in next Friday? That's someone managing their needs while respecting yours. But when someone says, I need space with no timeline, no clear reason, and no reassurance, while still watching your Instagram stories and liking your photos at 3 a.m, that's not space. That's keeping you on the hook. Eleanor experienced this for 4 months straight. Every time things started to get deeper, her partner would say he needed space to figure out his feelings. She'd give him space. He'd come back after a week or two, things would be great for a minute, then the cycle would repeat. But during these space periods, she later found out he was actively dating other people. Here's the thing about attachment psychology. When an avoidant needs space, they typically need it across the board. They're not just pulling back from you while maintaining active social lives and pursuing other people. They're genuinely withdrawing to regulate their nervous system. The manipulative version. They need space from commitment and accountability, but not from attention and validation. Let me show you the pattern. He says he needs space when you bring up meeting his family. He says he needs space when you want to define the relationship. He says he needs space when you ask about his ex he's still texting. But he never needs space when he wants to come over at midnight or when he needs emotional support about his job. The phrase is being weaponized to control the pace and depth of the relationship entirely on his terms. And because it sounds reasonable, you feel guilty for having needs or asking questions. That's exactly the point. So what do? Give him all the space he wants, permanently. Tell him, take all the time you need, and when you've figured it out, I might still be available. But I'm not pressing pause on my life while you decide if I'm worth your time. Then actually mean it. The manipulative type will suddenly discover they've figured things out real quick. The genuine avoidant will respect your boundary and either do the work or let you go. Statement 5. It's not you, it's my past. This is the trauma card, and it's dangerous because it makes you feel like you're being insensitive if you push back. He's sharing something vulnerable, right? He's explaining why he is the way he is. You should be understanding and patient, but watch what happens with this information. Does he use his past as an explanation while actively working to heal from it? Or does he use it as an excuse to keep doing harmful things without consequence? Marcus told every woman he dated about his toxic ex who cheated on him, which explained why he had trust issues. Sounded reasonable. But 3 months in, those trust issues meant reading his girlfriend's texts, tracking her location, interrogating her about male friends, while simultaneously keeping his own phone locked and disappearing for hours without explanation. His past became a permanent permission slip to be controlling, while never being held accountable. Here's something crucial about trauma and attachment. Having a difficult past is real. Struggling with trust because of past betrayal is real. But people who are genuinely working through their stuff will tell you about their past and then show you what they're doing to heal from it. Therapy, boundary work, self-awareness, communication about triggers. The manipulative type tells you about their past and then uses it as a shield against any criticism of their present behavior. And there's a subtle power dynamic at play here. By sharing his traumatic past, he's creating a situation where you feel like you need to be extra careful, extra understanding, extra patient. You become responsible for managing his triggers, while he takes no responsibility for managing his healing. Let that sink in for a second. A genuine avoidant will say, I have trust issues from my past and I'm working on them in therapy. Can you be patient with me while I do this work, but also please call me out if I'm being unfair? The manipulative one says, I have trust issues from my past, and then uses it as a blanket excuse for controlling, dismissive or inconsistent behavior without ever actually addressing the root issues. So what do? You show empathy for the past, but hold firm on the present. I understand your ex hurt you. That must have been really painful. But I'm not your ex, and I won't be punished for things I didn't do. What specific steps are you taking to work through this? If they can't answer that question or get defensive, you know what you're dealing with. Statement 6. I don't do labels. This is the commitment phobe's favourite line, dressed up as modern and progressive. Labels are outdated, right? We should just enjoy what we have without putting pressure on it with titles and definitions. Except here's what's actually happening. Labels create accountability. When you're someone's girlfriend, there are certain expectations. When you're just hanging out or seeing where things go, those expectations disappear. You're doing relationship things without any of the security or respect that comes with an actual relationship. Sophia lived this for 1.5 years. They spent almost every night together. She had a toothbrush at his place. They went on trips together, met each other's families at casual gatherings. But he didn't do labels. Then she found out he'd matched with someone on a dating app, and when she confronted him, he said, "We never said we were exclusive. You knew I didn't do labels." Think about how perfectly that worked for him. He got all the benefits of a committed relationship without any of the responsibility. And when she expressed hurt, he made her feel unreasonable for expecting something he clearly communicated he didn't want. But here's what most people miss. Look at what he doesn't have problems labeling in his life. His job title matters. His education degrees matter. His car make and model matter. His friend groups have names and definitions. Suddenly labels are only a problem when it comes to the one thing that would require him to be accountable to another person. The avoidant attachment system craves connection but fears engulfment. That's real. But the manipulative avoidant uses the no labels thing strategically to keep multiple options open, or to avoid the vulnerability that comes with claiming someone publicly. Watch what happens when you respect that boundary. Tell him, okay, no labels. That means I'm also exploring other connections since we're not defining this. If he suddenly has a problem with that, if he gets jealous or possessive or wants you to be exclusive without calling it that, you've just exposed the game. He doesn't actually have a problem with labels. He has a problem with labels that would make him accountable to you while wanting you to act labelled toward him. So what do? You refuse to play by rules that only benefit one person. I respect that you don't do labels, but I do need clarity. Either we're building something exclusive and meaningful or we're not. Either way is fine, but I need to know so I can make informed decisions about my time and energy. Then hold that line. Don't let someone have relationship benefits without relationship commitment just because they've convinced you labels are the problem. Statement 7. Why do you have to make everything so complicated? This is the one that makes you doubt your own sanity. You bring up a legitimate concern, something that's bothering you, something that needs to be addressed, and suddenly you're the problem for bringing it up. You're being too emotional, too needy, too complicated. Daniel's girlfriend asked him why he only texted her after 10 p.m. on weekdays. Simple question. His response: why do you have to make everything so complicated? Why can't we just enjoy what we have? You're always creating problems. Watch the magic trick that just happened. She asked a reasonable question about his behaviour. He flipped it into a character assessment of her. Now she's not dealing with his sketchy texting patterns. She's defending herself against being called difficult and complicated. And in defending herself, she's dropped the original issue entirely. This is called DARVO in psychology. Deny, attack, reverse victim and offender. He denies there's a problem, attacks you for bringing it up, and makes himself the victim of your unreasonable expectations. And it works because it triggers your fear of being too much, too needy, too demanding. Here's the reality. Wanting honesty isn't complicated. Wanting consistency isn't complicated. Wanting respect and communication isn't complicated. These are baseline expectations in any healthy relationship. But a manipulative avoidant will label normal relationship needs as complicated because addressing them would require him to be accountable. And there's a deeper pattern here. Notice how your needs are always complicated, but his are reasonable. When he needs space, that's valid. When you need reassurance, you're being clingy. When he needs time to figure things out, that's understandable. When you need clarity, you're being pushy. The double standard is the whole point. So what do? You stop defending yourself against the accusation and redirect to the actual issue. Whether I'm complicated or not isn't the question. The question is why you only text me after 10 p.m. on weekdays. Can you answer that? Don't let them derail the conversation. If they keep deflecting, keep redirecting. If they refuse to engage with the actual issue, that refusal is your answer. Listen, I need you to understand something. Avoidant attachment is real. People genuinely struggle with intimacy and closeness because of their history and their nervous system wiring. That deserves compassion and patience. But manipulation is also real, and some people use the language of attachment theory to justify behaviour that's actually just selfish and harmful. They're not working on their avoidance, they're weaponizing it. The difference shows up in the patterns. Someone genuinely struggling with avoidant attachment will be inconsistent with everyone, not just you. They'll show self-awareness about their patterns. They'll be working on themselves in measurable ways. They'll communicate about their needs while respecting yours. They'll take accountability when they hurt you, even if it's unintentional. The manipulative type. They're conveniently avoidant only about things that would require them to be accountable to you. They have all the language about attachment styles, but none of the work. They want you to understand their needs while dismissing yours as unreasonable, and when you call them out, they make you the problem. You deserve someone who's doing the work, not someone who's using psychology language to avoid doing the work. Trust your gut. If these 7 phrases are showing up in your relationship and the behavior never changes despite the conversations, you're not dealing with someone who's struggling. You're dealing with someone who's playing you. And the moment you really internalize that, the moment you stop making excuses for them and start seeing the pattern for what it is, that's when you get your power back. That's when you stop waiting for them to change and start making choices that actually serve your well-being. Because here's the thing they're counting on. You staying longer than you should because you want to be understanding about their attachment style. Don't let compassion become complicity in your own mistreatment.